In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how I made enclosed forms on the wheel and made them to be wheel-thrown pumpkins. These are hollow forms. They were completely enclosed. I'm going to demonstrate that. This is a little bit more of an advanced technique for people who are a little bit more proficient on the wheel. If you are a beginner, this technique might not be best for you. You could check out my previous video that I just posted making pinch pot pumpkins. I will link it in the video description, but also I'll put a link right up here. If you look right up here in the corner of the screen, there's going to be a link to the pinch pot pumpkin video. You might find it helpful. In this video, I'm going to show how I throw the enclosed form, how I do the ribbing on it, how I either add a stem or incorporate a stem that I already threw. And I'm also going to show you some glitches that I had, where I had some things that happened that maybe I didn't intend to happen. Also, I will show you one complete failure that I had where I destroyed the item. So I like to show something like that because I want you to realize that not everything works out. You know, in these YouTube videos, you can make it look really easy because I'm showing the finished product. But I wanted you to see that there are some issues if you're not careful, and I wasn't careful, and I made it fall apart. I'm also going to be showing this tool that I have. I have this tool in my pitch pot video as well. It's what I use to make the grooves on here, and I will link that in the video description, and also I'll link it up in the corner when I get to using it. So if you are interested in that, that will be there. Drop me any questions that you might have below, and good luck and happy potting. I'm going to start off by centering a hunk of clay that's right around 1 pound. When I drop the middle, I'm not going to the back, but I'm going to leave probably about 1/4 of an inch at the base. And then as I open it, I'm going to round the interior as if it's like a bowl. Now, making a sphere, you have to be aware that you need to keep the opening narrow, because if you get that opening real wide, it's hard to bring it back. Of course, I did just stick my hand in, so I had to make sure that I could compress on the inside, but I don't want to get any bigger than that. Before I close it off, I'm going to take my sponge and soak up any puddle that might be on the interior. Oops. Now, as I brought that together, this one I brought to a point because I can use that point as part of my stem. Now, for the rest of this, I just want to make it a little bit more spherical. And the nice thing about having trapped air is it does help to hold the shape. So I can gently use a rib and scrape off the slip. Now, I do have a little bit of an air bubble in one spot. I think I'll probably just choose to ignore that. Now I am going to make an undercut down here, shaving off a little bit more with a wooden knife. Now, I know this doesn't look like a pumpkin at this point. I am going to allow it to stiffen up a little bit before I do anything else. Now, I did clean the slip off of it with a rib, and I recommend that you clean the slip off your hands, and then I'm just going to pick it up so you can see that's what it looks like right now, and I'll set it aside. Next, I'm going to do a 2-pound one. Throwing a sphere has things similar to, say, throwing a vase, throwing a teapot spout, anything like that where you need to keep the opening narrow and yet volume in the other areas. And of course, here I am just coning. It is totally optional, but I encourage my kids to do coning because I think it helps them as beginners to center. Dropping the middle, again leaving it about 1/4 of an inch. Rounding the interior. So I keep it somewhat like a volcano, you might say, where it's more narrow at the top. And here I'm just trying to start to belly out the sphere. Now at this point, it's very much like a vase. And again, I'm going to get my puddle out of the bottom before I start to close it off. Because of course, if you leave a puddle in there, that will weaken the clay. So I collar it a little bit, and just like doing a vase or a spout or something, after every time you collar it, do a compression pull. Collar it a little bit, and then a compression pull. All right, now I've closed that one off. I could create the little stem here while I'm at it, or in the case of this one, I'll just kind of round it and push it in so it's not really protruding so much. Here I'm going to give it an undercut again. Okay, hands dry. Then I'll pick it up. I'm going to do one more of those, around 2 pounds. Now if you bring it in and it's a little off center at the top, I wouldn't worry about it because I'm just going to pinch off the extra anyhow. I think I knocked it off right there at the end. This one, I'll go ahead and I'll shape the stem out of this one. All right, now I'm going to do the pumpkin sculpting with my little pieces that I did yesterday. They are a soft leather hard at this point. You want to kind of monitor it and make sure that you get it to the right consistency. Now I'm going to work on foam, and when I work on foam, I do like to put, say, a little towel over it. That way it keeps the foam cleaner. Sometimes my kids aren't real attentive to that and they get the foam real gross and dirty, so it just helps keep it clean. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this squared corner on the back, and I'm just going to take a rib and scrape this away. Now I happen to be using the Mud Tools yellow rib. You can use whatever sort of rib you like that's good at scraping. I just wouldn't use a super soft one like the red, because that's really more for finishing and smoothing rather than for scraping away. You could also use, say, something like a hotel card or a credit card sort of a thing. I have some hotel cards that I keep here for students that they can use as take-home ribs, and I've cut them to match this shape. It's kind of a handy home tool if you don't have the nice ones that are made specifically for this. So you can see after each time I clean off the rib just to get off the excess clay. Okay, so here is one where I threw it with the stem connected, and I'm going to take my little yellow rib and round off the squared corner that's down there at the bottom. I want to soften that transition. After every time I clean the rib off, and I keep a towel on hand where I can wipe my fingers a little bit to get the clay off my fingers. Okay, so now that I have the bottom rounded, now I'm going to make the ribs. And in the past, I've shown my students how they can use this Kemper wooden knife where if they hold it at an angle, okay, so I'm holding it at an angle and I rock it, I can create the dent. But that only creates like one side that looks rounded. Then I have to go back and hold it the other way to kind of soften that. So it kind of makes it more like a V groove. So it's a little bit more rounded. So again, I just angle it this way, then I angle it this way. I also have a tool that I'll link in the video description. This is one that I made where it's a V. I have it sanded and sculpted like a V. So if I start off, I can just rock it with the V aimed right to the center, and that creates a nice little indent that creates the rib. Okay. The nice thing about pumpkins is they're organic, so you don't have to be super regular. You can make, lines closer together, farther apart. Okay. Now this still has air that's trapped on the inside, and it's helping it to hold its form. Sometimes I get some cracking that starts. I just try to blend over those before it breaks through. At this point, I want to put a vent hole. The vent hole will do two things. First of all, it's going to let some of that air pressure escape, so now I can manipulate it a little bit more. And I waited until after I had the ribs in there. So now I'm just going to take this, I'm going to push this down a little bit to create more of the top of the pumpkin that I wanted to. And I was able to do that because the air was able to come out of the bottom. And where maybe I have a little bit of cracking that is starting there, just going to add a little water to soften that, and I'll take my finger in there and blend it. So I like the form of that now. And again, if you see any cracks, you just want to try to blend them over whenever you see them. I've got one that kind of formed right there. I just want to blend it. Now I'd like to do something with this stem to make it look a little bit more natural. So that one thing that I want to do is I'm just going to add a little water and I'm going to pinch it up. Because again, this is still, it's a soft leather hard, so it's flexible where just by pinching it I can change the shape of it a little bit. And then if I want to create kind of a texture on it, I'm just going to put some lines around it. Okay, so I've got some lines, and then I'm just going to twist. And last one. All right, and needle tool hole, a single hole. Oops. That one was a little too dry. Okay, well, I'll chalk that one up to experience. I pushed a little too hard and I just ripped right through it. So now you can see things you should try to avoid. The top should have been a little bit softer on that one. That's okay. But you can see my walls are pretty even in thickness, so not bad. I was a little over aggressive with it. Now on this last one, I am just using the little, that V-groove tool to make the ribs, but on this one, I accidentally popped it as I was doing it. It was a little bit too much pressure, it was a little bit too dry, and you can see that I have a hole there. I'm going ahead and I'm kind of shaping it. And this one is going to be a little bit wonky. It'll be like a little bit of an asymmetrical pumpkin, where it's leaning a little bit. But here where I popped it, I'm just adding a coil by scoring, slipping, and then I will get that blended in there. It was a little bit too large for me to just easily blend over with the existing clay. That's why I'm adding a little bit of a coil. And I'll just rib that in there a little bit. And I will wait until that gets a little bit harder and I'll just finesse it and clean it up a little bit more. Now here I'm going to make a stem, and I just have kind of a tapered little coil. And I'm adding some texture and then twisting it and then scoring and slipping as I attach that. And that's my final example of something to be careful of when you're doing that so you don't blow the seam out. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and if you'd like to see more videos on working with clay, please subscribe. The next video that I will be posting after this will be on different ways that we can finish them. I'm showing my students 3 different ways we can finish them with a combination of glaze and or iron oxide.